believe it's important that we deliberate among ourselves, but we deliberate with our partners in the global north and in the interested world in general. This includes governments, it includes those who think about matters, academia, and let me stress, private businesses. Because frankly, if business won't come together, we ain't gonna be able to get anything together. Governments must come together. That's obviously a precursor. But along with governments, international organizations, global thinking has to be there. And that's exactly what we've sought to do. Look at the context in which we will try to position the 23rd edition of WSDS this year. Of course, India as the host, we are honored to have the Honorable Vice President inaugurate, the Minister of Environment speak at the inaugural. But we are very fortunate to have the Prime Minister of Guyana. Now, Guyana is a very interesting country, I should tell you. I'm not only saying it because, as Dr. Dhawan said, Terry has had an old institutional relationship, a presence in Guyana, but because Guyana has been in the forefront of representing the global south, particularly the smaller countries at the UN negotiations on climate change. And their people have been active. So it's a country which is recognized. And we believe the presence of their Prime Minister here, and he's here in India on an official visit, but the presence at the inaugural of the WSDS lends it a very special collaborative message that please, the large developing countries, the small developing countries, the developed world, all of you listen, because climate change is real. It is, as Dr. Dhawan said, a shared responsibility and a shared need for us to do something, and it demands collaboration. Now, we are also very, very fortunate that we have two ministers from Kiribati and from Fiji. You know, these are countries that you quintessentially identify with the problem. After all, if you have sea level rises, existentialist threats exist for small islands. India has 1,000 small islands. We know what this means, but we have a huge mainland. Think about these countries in the South Pacific, their state, and the importance for us as a conscious effort in terms of our own thinking about how important it is, and what they relay to the world can hardly be replicated by any of us in terms of reflecting their view. So we're very happy to have these two honorable ministers here with us. But you know, we're also very pleased that we have the president of the IPCC. We have the former president in person. We have the current president in a hybrid mode available to interact with people. We were very fortunate to have him interact with Indian industry at the Dubai COP. And his interest and willingness to engage with India also stems from a simple fact that India is a country which is a very critical stakeholder in the global fight on climate. First, it's doing a lot. It's going way beyond what anyone could say is, let me say, the fair aspect of what India should do. Taking on huge and massive targets in the renewable energy, taking on a net zero target, and making tremendous effort. But we are a critical economy, and we understand that. And we are doing a lot. So, you know, it's both sides, encouraging us to do more, pushing us to do more, collaborating with us for more, but also accepting that here is a country which is really stepping forward on this particular matter. But we need to try and see what we can do. So, you know, we are particularly happy with that. I'll just speak about one other subject matter here for everyone's benefit, because it is a subject of critical importance, especially as we sit in the global south. The issue is that of money. Everybody talks about money. There's no money on the table. Well, we all know there's no money on the table, and there's been no money on the table for a long time. But it's time that we also started thinking about how can we sort of catalyze money to come on the table. It's one thing to talk about money not being there. What can we do? Can we do something institutionally? Can we think of some ideas institutionally so that we can try and have things forward? And I'm very happy that we have Dr. Amar Bhattacharya here with us. I hope some of you are familiar with the Nicholas Stern Vera Wongwei report, which came out on, what can be done about climate financing just before COP28. Now, Amar was the key individual working behind the scenes, and we are very fortunate to have him in person here, speak on the first day and in a roundtable that we'll have after that. And an individual who, has worked on what can you do institutionally. How can you, let me say, make it important for money to come towards climate and come towards the developing world where there is action and there is need. And it would be, in my opinion, particularly interesting for all of you to listen to what people like him have to say. We have on that panel one of our own colleagues, distinguished fellow Deepak Dasgupta, moderating it. But there are several other good people there. And finally, let me say to you two other things. One is private sector. We have been particularly conscious that private sector and its role is critical. So while there are some well-known names who are there here with us, the chairman of Renew Power and so on, but we have thematic tracks which have serious senior people from the private sector participating. And that's day 2. And for those of you who are interested in specific subjects, let me assure you that the list would be exhaustive and have some of the best people in India and experts from the world participating in that.